What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at it again with another video. So we're going to check out why Kane was never truly the top heel in WWE explained. I feel like Kane should have been like that top monster heel. Even though he was portrayed to be as one, he never really was if you really break it down. Like, he was to an extent. Like, especially when they introduced him, they introduced him to face the Undertaker. We all still looked at, even though he wasn't a top heel in the sense, he would have his heel moments, but we all looked at the Undertaker as still this top presence of darkness. And then Kane came into the building, came into the mix, and it was dope to see. And then, obviously, things changed with Kane and how they were booking him, and they aligned him with his brother. They went with the storyline of them being brothers and stuff like that, had the Brothers of Destruction, all that good stuff. But then when they took the mask off, they had a chance to do something really good, and they did. For about like a year and a half, they did something where for a little bit it felt like Kane was this unstoppable, unhinged monster. They made him feel scary again once they took the mask off and he was just unhinged, and it was some good stuff, but they never really pushed him as this top guy. Like, he was always respected by the fans and loved by the fans, but he was never really considered one of the top guys, whether he was heel or a babyface. He was like right on the edge, So we're going to check this out and see, why was that the particular reason? Granted, still love Kane, man. I loved Kane before he got into the authority stuff. That shit I didn't care much for. But nevertheless, always show love and respect to Kane out there, man.
Okay, you ready?
This Sunday, Kane, when you become...
It's the big red machine! Kane is here!
The WWF champion.
Tombstone pile driver!
This, Kane, is your destiny! No man can stop destiny.
Team champions! Do I have anything to say?
He set people on fire a couple times, but you're gonna love him. Hey!
Yeah, he became a comedy act. He did. One thing I can respect about the Undertaker, they never really put him they never made him a comedy act, which I truly appreciated. They never did. And for those who think, they would never do that to the Undertaker, or they would never try, or it wouldn't make sense. I mean, it shouldn't have made sense to do that to the Undertaker's per storyline brother, right? And Kane, right? But that's what they ended up doing.
What?
Kane is one of the most terrifying and iconic characters in WWE history. From his fiery debut in 1997,
That's gotta be
Kane!
Undertaker's eyes saying, I know you, you're my brother, you're Kane, without ever saying a word. And everything together made that possibly the best debut of all time.
This was dope.
to his countless reinventions, he had all the tools to be the #1 villain in the WWE. But despite his incredible presence, Kane never fully reached the spot as the top bad guy in the company. So what exactly stopped Kane from being WWE's ultimate monster heel? Let's break it down. The perfect debut.
Perfect.
Kane's introduction
Fantastic.
at Bad Blood 1997
Chef's
is still
kiss.
one of the greatest debuts of all time, ripping the
Imagine you as a kid watching someone rip the hinges off the Hell in a Cell with the Undertaker in there, no less. Legitimately, I was afraid of him. The mask scared me, his presence. I was afraid of him and the Undertaker. But once he came into the mix, I was like, who the fuck is he? And why is the Undertaker afraid of him? Like, bro, it was such a great debut. Great debut.
cell door off the Hell in the Cell, and confronting The Undertaker, he instantly became a star. With Paul Bearer by his side, a tragic backstory, an incredible costume, and a look straight out of a horror movie.
He was a living, breathing monster that people were genuinely a little afraid of.
Kane felt unstoppable. WWE positioned him as the monster heel who could finally match The Undertaker. And from the very beginning, his story was tied to his brother, meaning that his ceiling was already limited.
In some ways, Kane was either mocking or paying tribute to his brother, The Undertaker, by doing the same stuff that he did. And you know, we designed that all on purpose. But yeah, I didn't have to invent anything. I could, you know, it was kind of ready-made already.
Kane was never booked as his own top villain. Instead, he was always...
And that's a very interesting point. I like that they made that point. He had a ceiling because you got The Undertaker. We now know storyline-wise that Kane is his brother. So essentially, some of the moves that he does is going to be reminiscent of his brother. Instead of going a route which I do think them going the brother route was actually pretty good. So it's a positive and negative because you automatically have this attachment and understanding a little bit of The Undertaker. But now you have this new character that's related to The Undertaker, but similar in size and stature and intensity and mystiqueness and creepiness. It made sense, but it also put him at a ceiling because, I mean, people look at The Undertaker as one of the greatest wrestling characters ever. So it's kind of hard to overtake that, especially at the time, you know, peak WWE.
Always in The Undertaker's shadow. Lack of long-term booking.
Ooh,
WWE knew that Kane could be scary. They knew that he could be the big red machine, the all-dominant, powerful villain to come into any match. But they rarely ever committed to him as the centerpiece heel. His first reign as WWE champion in 1998, it lasted for only one day when he beat Austin at the King of the Ring.
Undertaker takes a swing, hits Austin. Austin gets cut. First blood. Kane's champion.
Only to lose the title the very next night.
Picks Austin up and throws him right down on that metal railing. That's right. He's a true champion, Kane is. And Austin going for the stunner.
Listen to that reaction. Listen to that reaction. Listen to that. Look at that.
That decision, it basically summed up Kane's entire career. He was always close to the top, but never trusted at...
That I just literally said that at the beginning of the video. He was always on the cusp, but would never really get over the hump as like the top guy. And granted, it's fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin. Did y'all hear that reaction? Did y'all hear that reaction? Like, bruh, I get it. It makes sense. But at the same time, you know, it automatically puts people's mind automatically look at Kane as like, he's cool, he's dope, he's the Undertaker's brother, he's fucking amazing, great debut. But he ain't no Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's not going to dethrone Stone Cold Steve Austin to be at the top, unfortunately. Not for long.
As the man to carry the company. Unlike villains like Triple H or even Randy Orton, who would come years later, Kane was used as a short-term threat, not the main attraction.
Unfortunate,
There was never really a lot of thought that went into his rivalries, other than his rivalry with his brother. Everything else just felt like it was last minute. Character changes and some comedy booking. Another reason why Kane never became the #1 heel was because of how often WWE changed his character. In one era, he was a silent monster. In another, he was unmasked and cutting long promos, but still looking pretty evil.
But no more. Tonight, I will once again feast on fear and suffering.
Then, sometimes he was terrifying, and sometimes he was used for comedy skits with RVD, Daniel Bryan, and even doing the Kane Rooney with The Rock.
Now wait a second, Booker. These
I'm not gonna lie to you. Even though some would say it does hurt, it did hurt him overall, but at the same time, people loved it. So it's like it's one of those things where it's a positive and a negative because people they view him still as Kane and someone to not mess with from a character standpoint. But when he's doing the Kane or Rooney and having these funny moments, you like him because it's like, man, that's big lovable Kane. He'll beat the crap out of you and set you on fire. But he also knows how to make jokes. It's one of those things where he was entertaining in those comedy segments, which I can truly appreciate. But you know what ceiling he's gonna hit. You know, so I can understand. It's a double-edged sword with that particular situation.
people didn't come here tonight just to see the Spinneroonie.
Machine can do it.
I mean, do we really have to talk about the time when he eluded his aura as an unstoppable villain? A true top bad guy.
And then, guess what they would do? Then they would have him be evil again. So it's like, all right, so 1 minute Kane is lovable and joking. Next minute he wants to set you on fire. 1 minute he's lovable and joking. Next minute he wants to electrocute your balls. Do y'all remember that? What he did to Shane McMahon? That was torture.
Needs some consistency. And that's something that Kane rarely ever had. I mean, if we take a look at The Undertaker compared to Kane, The Undertaker was the dead man, the phenom, the evil guy throughout his entire career. He never quite ever leaned into the comedy stuff. But for some reason, the WWE did that with Kane. And it ended up ruining his push or ruining his chances of becoming the top villain in the company. The Undertaker factor. Kane's biggest rival throughout his career was also his biggest obstacle. It was The Undertaker. Fans saw Kane as the little brother. And more often than not, he lost their major battles. At WrestleMania 14 and WrestleMania 20, Kane was defeated by The Undertaker in decisive fashion. Every time WWE needed to make The Undertaker look strong, Kane was always the one sacrificed. While their story was legendary, it ensured Kane was never positioned above his brother as the ultimate heel in the company. Other heels took the spotlight. Villains to push. In the Attitude Era, Vince McMahon was actually the #1 heel, followed closely by Triple H. In the Ruthless Aggression Era, you had guys like Edge, JBL, Randy Orton, and Triple H, who were actually carrying the torch. Kane was always seen as a supporting act, an important threat, but never the guy. He was the guy who you could beat along the way to beating the real top guy. And timing, it just worked against him because WWE always had another heel that they were more interested in pushing long term. Take a look at JBL. Take a look at Edge, the rated R superstar. They were the top heels at the time. And then you also have Triple H and Randy Orton. So there was not a lot of place for the Big Red Machine. A reliable role player, but not the star. Ultimately, Kane's role in WWE wasn't to be the top villain forever. It was to be the consistent monster who could elevate others. He was the guy you would put against the new babyface in order to test him. He was always credible, always respected, and always useful in the company.
And you can tell he always did what they asked him to. When they asked him to put the mask down or put on a suit to be a part of the authority, he did. Did people hate it, including myself? Fucking yes. But he always did what they asked him to. Always. For the most part, I'm willing to bet. Like, whatever character shift they wanted him to do, whatever person they wanted him to kind of get over, he would always do. You know, and that's just someone that's, you know, you could tell they just had that loyalty towards the brand and the company as a whole that, hey, you want me to go out there and shuck and jive? I got you, boss man. You feel me?
But in WWE's eyes, he was never the franchise heel who could carry the brand forward. That doesn't mean that Kane failed. His longevity, reinventions, and legendary moments prove that he was one of the most valuable players in WWE history.
For sure.
Whether he was the top guy or not.
Where they needed him to go, he was able to go and make it work exceptionally well.
If I was to start a wrestling company, my first guy, I would pick Kane. One, he can work with anybody. Two, he knows exactly what his gimmick is. He knows what his gimmick isn't. Three, he's going to do business.
So what exactly stopped Kane from becoming WWE's #1 bad guy? Well, it's a mixture of a few factors. His character always being tied to The Undertaker, WWE's lack of commitment to him as the champion, constant reinventions, and other heels taking the spotlight. Still, Kane's legacy is undeniable.
For sure.
He may not have been the top villain, but he was one of the most reliable, respected, and feared wrestlers that WWE has ever seen. So the big question is, do you think that Kane should have had a longer run as WWE's top villain?
I would have liked to see it.
Do you think that the one thing that really killed his push was losing the title in one day? And also, are you regretting the fact that the WWE didn't push him to the top? Let me know in the comments below, guys. And also remember to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel for more WWE content like this. And guys,
this was actually pretty cool, bro. I like this type of conversation. This is the WrestleZone. They have 389 subscribers. I'm going to go ahead and give them a subscription. I'm going to go like the video. Y'all show them some love, man. This was actually a pretty tough vid right here. The WrestleZone, 389 subscribers. Go show them some love, man. This was actually pretty dope. I like videos like this that actually ask those type of questions that I'm sure some people have thought, or thought to themselves like, damn, why wasn't Kane really like the top guy? He really should have been the top guy at some point. I don't understand why he wasn't, and it's just one of those things where they listed in this video few reasons: the character changing from being serious to not being as serious, being a comedic act, then obviously being tied to the Undertaker, and the Undertaker is always going to be a little bit higher above Kane. Then at the time, timing would be an issue. If you have other top heels and other top storylines that they're focusing on, Kane wasn't really there, in a sense. He would be adjacent to some pretty good storylines, but not at the top where the biggest storylines would lie. Other than that time period where he was kind of like, he was seen more as this new villain once he took the mask off, I thought that was pretty good. I think that was probably, in my opinion, some of the best stuff from Kane character-wise. But outside of that, they've always kept him in good spots and good situations, but he was never really looked at as, that's the #1 heel. That's the #1 bad guy in the company. He never was looked at that. And maybe it wasn't meant for him to be in that role. Maybe he was meant to be a supporting cast that would have some moments that people remember. Because at the end of the day, when you really break it down, when people think of The Undertaker, a lot of people, they think of Kane. And honestly, that's not a bad thing at all. Comment down below. Let me know, what's your favorite Kane moment of all time? I would love to get y'all opinion on this. But I appreciate all love, support. Road to 200K. Appreciate y'all kicking with me. See you on the next one. Peace.